All right, thank you everybody for joining us. It is 6 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Councilman Box, if you would be so kind.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Everybody join me a moment. Most gracious Creator, thank you, Lord, for this day. Thank you for the opportunity to come here and represent our little city again, Father God. Help us to be wise. Help us to be delicate in our differences. Help us to be purposeful in our passion, Lord. But most of all, help us remember that we're all servants to each other. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Box.
Yes, sir.
All right, roll call. Councilman London.
Present.
Councilwoman Cuellar.
Here.
Councilman Box. Let the record reflect Councilman Sims absent and myself present. That being said, if we could get a motion on the minutes from the regular city council meeting on February the 4th of 2025. We'll do this separately for the other one.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes of the regular city council meeting, February 4th, 2025.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
2025.
Motion to approve the minutes of the special city council meeting of February 10th, 2025.
We have a motion for those approvals. We have a Councilman London, you said abstain, and then Councilwoman Cuellar, what say you?
I said aye.
Okay, perfect. Got it. I just want to make sure I heard you. So those two pass. Outstanding. Now we find ourselves with the bills. If we could go ahead and get a motion for the current bills.
Council President Spivey, before we go on and get the motion, our city clerk sent out a revised amount. You may notice that. And the reason for that was that when I was going through the invoices over the weekend, there was a receipt register that was not shown on our expense report, but it was included with all of the statements for the P cards. And the documentation, everything was there. It just was not a part of our council expense approval report. So I sent her an email this morning with all the documentation. And this is why you see the increase now in the approval of current bills for payment has been bumped up because it was not shown on our expense approval report. She has made the adjustments, not just to the dollar amounts, but on the expense approval report to include that P card.
Thank
I
you.
wanted to update you on that. That's one of the reasons we got a revised agenda, but that's why that amount was increased.
I was familiar with what occurred, but I appreciate you pointing it out.
I don't know if the others, but I did want to mention that.
Understood. Any other comments on expenses, Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes, I'm just
Okay.
going to give out some additional items because I was not able to send them to her. And I mentioned that I wouldn't have those ready until later this evening. Those are the only comments I'd like to make.
Thank you. That being said, may we revisit the motion to pay the bills?
Ms. Allison, the amount that the audience has been updated to include what Councilwoman Cuellar is speaking of, correct? Okay, thank you so much. Make a motion, we approve the current bills for the payment of $699,355.63.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
I'm going to vote no on this because of the handouts I've just given.
Understood.
Thank you.
All right. We find ourselves what would normally be at the mayor's report, but he is not with us this evening. So we'll go ahead and go down to our council member, standing committee, and special guest committee reports. I'm going to go ahead and flip the order. I'm going to start with myself on this end on the interest of time. I would like to go ahead and yield our time because we very rarely have a state representative with us. So please, Miss Susan, if you would come up and tell us what you got going on.
Thank you for yielding to me. I appreciate that. And thank y'all for allowing me to be here. Is Mrs. Meadows here yet? Okay, thank you for being here. I'm Representative Susan DeBose, and I represent this district. It's my honor to represent this district down in Montgomery. And I'm here today to bring a special honor to you and to your husband. And this is from the state of Alabama, Office of the Governor, Governor Ivey. So I'm presenting this to you on her behalf. And if you don't mind, I'd just like to read this
Please.
quickly. It won't take me long. But this is a commendation by the Governor of Alabama, Whereas Lieutenant Mark Meadows served his country for 4 years in the U.S. Army 3rd Ranger Battalion, 10th Mountain Division at Fort Benning in Georgia before beginning his law enforcement career with the Mount Brook Police Department in 1992. And whereas Lieutenant Meadows then transferred to the Irondale Police Department and has served his community and family faithfully for 30 years, he embodied public servitude and always put the needs of his community before his own. And whereas he then became an FBI instructor certified in pistol and rifle in 2001, in 2017, Lieutenant Meadows was certified as an NRA instructor in pistol. And whereas tragically, Lieutenant Meadows lost his life in the line of duty on Monday morning of January 6, 2025, at the Church of the Highlands, where he had worked for more than a decade helping to coordinate traffic security. And whereas Lieutenant Meadows was more than just a faithful public servant and veteran, he was a husband, a father, and a grandfather of 2. And whereas my heart is heavy with the tragic loss of Lieutenant Meadows, and I join all Alabamians in lifting up his family, the Irondale Police Department, and the Church of Highlands community in prayer. And whereas on behalf of the state of Alabama, I express my deepest condolences to his family and community. He will forever be remembered as a hero and a selfless servant. Now, therefore, I, Kay Ivey, Governor of Alabama, do hereby commend Lieutenant Mark Meadows.
Thank you very much for coming down this evening.
Other quick little thing, I
Please
had a, just an educational grant check that I want to give to our Irondale fire chief. And we just had, like, I've already given you the check. Oh, here we go. We'll make it official. And this is actually from our Jefferson County Community Service Fund. So thank you for all you do, and we appreciate your service to the community and the service of the whole fire department. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and that being said, I yielded my time, so that concludes my report for the evening. Councilman Box, your
Thank you,
report, please,
Council
sir.
President, I appreciate it. Welcome, everybody. Glad to see everybody here tonight. Report's very short and sweet. Just want to thank our police and fire department, as always, and our abatement board that's helping get rid of a lot of unsightly stuff and dangerous stuff in the city. Senior citizen sitter, Miss Wright, is just really taking things over the top. So if you guys haven't visited lately, go up there and see what we've got going on there. With that said, I'll pass it back to you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Cuellar, your report?
Yes, thank you, Council President. I've got a couple of items to report on. The first one is concerns the numerous calls and the emails, some text messages, as well as some posts that I've seen on Facebook, particularly the Guardian Facebook, regarding information taken from the ADEM website. Now, during our last council meeting, a resident spoke to the council as well and requested some updates on our water test results. As chair of the water committee, they're saying they can't hear me. As chair of the water committee, I reached out to our council members 3 times last year to schedule a meeting with our water superintendent, Mayor Stewart, because we have not received updates since April of 2024. Now, each time we attempted to schedule a meeting, Mayor Stewart stated that he could not meet to provide the updates. He had some conflicts going on. At our last council meeting on February 4th, I requested another water committee meeting. And after the council meeting, we were able to schedule a water committee meeting for this evening at 5:30 p.m. I asked our city clerk, Miss Allison, to prepare the notice and post it to ensure the residents would be informed and that we would be in compliance with the Open Meetings Act. Unfortunately, we learned last Thursday evening February 14th, that Mayor Stewart was canceling the 4th time because he could not attend our meeting. Now, ladies and gentlemen, with so many cancellations by our water superintendent, I understand the frustration, the mistrust, and the anger that's being expressed by residents and comments, phone calls that they're giving me, comments on the Guardian. I understand it. Now, some are upset because they're being told that they need to go to the ADEM website when we should be providing them with information, as we did at our last water committee meeting that was held in April of 2024. Others have raised concerns about some of the data on ADEM. Now, let me be clear. In our efforts to provide you with accurate information, all council members agreed to send our legal counsel emails and other comments for review, and she would give us the information we needed to provide you with. I forwarded to our legal counsel some emails that we received, but I haven't heard a response back from her. Now, this past Sunday was really a hard one for me. I received phone calls from 2 residents, one a constituent, the other lives in another part of Irondale. And they were very upset. They were very concerned about our water. And after explaining the situation that I shared with everyone tonight, what I've just summarized for you, both residents said to me, "You are the water committee chair. So why won't you tell us if there is lead in our water and what the current PFAS levels are?" Now, my constituent also asked, "Why does Mayor Stewart continue to cancel every time you schedule a water committee meeting? What is he hiding? Why did he make it a point to attend 2 water committee meetings that addressed his salary increases? Are his salary increases more important to him than the health and safety of our children, senior citizens, and other Irondale water customers who are drinking the water? Why won't he post this information on the city's website? If he can't attend a water committee, why can't he provide you and the rest of the council members with the information on our water? Residents need answers, and we need you to provide them to us." Now, I assured my constituents, others who have called me, that I would work hard to get them answers. So I'm asking tonight, does our water system have lead in it? Now, Mr. Morris is here, our legal attorney is here. The residents deserve to have an answer. Does it have lead?
I don't believe this is fair.
This is
during
the report, and I promised them that I would get them answers.
did you inform Jared that he needed to be prepared for this? I
I'm
will not
asking
allow
a
you to
simple
catch him
question.
flat-footed on
Yes or
something.
no?
Pastor,
Does
can I
it
make a point
have
of order?
lead in it?
Please,
Okay, point of order on this. This is a report.
this is a
Okay,
report.
now, if, excuse, 1 minute, please, don't lose your composure there. If the board or the president of a board or non-committee or a report of department heads wants to address it during the period that we do that, that would be fine. But now is not the time to answer that question. He can do it during the appropriate time, should he choose to do so, if he's prepared to do so. That's my point of order.
I would agree with that.
Council
completely.
President Spivey, our residents need to know. They are concerned, and they have a right to a response to a simple question. Does it or does it not have lead? And so, without a definitive answer, without anything, I'm going to try to continue to seek these answers for you. But it's very difficult when you schedule council water committee meetings. I'm the water committee chair. And I did what we all agreed to do, send the information to the city attorney. They can then provide us with the answers. I have complied with that. Now, residents are saying, well, why is Councilman Sims out there posting stuff? Gee whiz, I don't know. And I don't know if that information is even accurate. I don't know where he's getting his information. But I am the chair, and I should have answers, and I don't have them. So this is the frustration that I'm having as the water committee chair. I can't provide you with these answers. I'm doing my best to get you these answers. So your safety is important to me. It's very important to all of us here. And I would suggest, since we,
Point of order.
sorry, I
acknowledge.
am in the middle of a statement
Point of
here,
order.
and I will
The
not be
point of order is
interrupted
justified
here.
because this email was sent out on Thursday to reschedule it for March the 4th. You're building up to something to make people think something is happening
I'm
that's
not.
not. He very rarely misses a council meeting. We did this for tonight so that he would be here, so all our schedules would come together. I can't help that he has travel plans. I don't know what happened.
Council
What if there was a
President
family
Spivey,
emergency?
4 times.
I don't personally care
times.
about how many times
Council
he's.
President, may I have my point of order?
Please. March
point
the
of order I
4th,
have was
rescheduled.
March the 4th was, came out on the email on February the 13th. So I actually had it on my calendar March the 4th, even before we had it scheduled for the 18th. I think we tentatively agreed, but we weren't sure of all the travel plans. We were gonna finalize those and then send the announcement of it out. Did you ever send an announcement for the 18th? Okay, so there's been no public announcement for the 18th, so the 18th was not a factual date at this point. The 4th has been the factual date that I understood. Now, that may be just me, I may be deficient, but the 4th was my understanding. Thank you for my point of order, sir.
Can I have
Can
one
you
more?
conclude?
May I clarify now? After the council meeting, I was asked by the council president, let's talk about it after the council meeting. We did do that. 3 council members would be able to attend the water committee meeting. We had a quorum. We asked the mayor. He said he would be able to attend on February the 18th. I then let the city clerk know, Miss Allison, can you please prepare the notification? We are to have a water committee meeting. This is what took place. And I am worried. People are asking me questions. Their safety is important. If this is an emergency, why are we waiting until March the 1st? Why don't we have?
I'm going to go ahead
all
and
we need
end
is a
your report right
24-hour
now.
notice.
I'm going to go ahead
That's
and end
it.
your report right now. Councilman
Well,
London.
let me move on to the next item, please.
Oh, you're not finished with your
I'm
report
not,
yet.
but I'm finished.
Council President
You-
Spivey,
you've all
can I
heard.
say one thing? Can I
No,
say one
please.
thing? The email that I believe that Councilor Cuellar is actually talking about came out on Tuesday, February the 11th. It was from John Bivona to all councilors. There were no legal questions in that to be answered. It completely surrounded whether is lead present in your drinking water. I cannot answer that. So there were no legal questions to be answered.
I recognize Councilwoman Cuellar to continue her report.
All right. Now, the next topic has to do with our council agenda. Who makes the decisions on our council agenda to put items on consent, items under new business, and items under old business? Why is the council as a body, which it has always done, deciding on whether something is on consent or whether it needs to remain as new business or old business? Well, who makes that decision? And the reason I'm asking is because it's a council decision. It cannot be made by one person. It cannot be made by the council president, by the city clerk, by the mayor, by the city attorney. It needs to be made by the entire body because it concerns an item that's on our agenda. And when it's on the agenda as a new item, an old item, the council, during its council meeting, decides whether are we in agreement? Can we put this on consent? That is the process. We have not been following the process. We now wind up with a consent agenda on our agenda. It's already been decided that it's going to be consent. Who made that decision is the question I'm asking.
Are you looking for an answer?
I am looking for an answer.
Legal, will you please explain my responsibilities around the council agenda?
The consent agenda is actually drafted that way because they are items which generally have no contest to them. Therefore, they are actually placed on that for the expediency of the actual meeting for both the city council and the actual public. And so therefore, that is why you all approve the form of the agenda, because at that point, prior to approving the form of the agenda, if you all, any of you would like to move it to the regular agenda, you can certainly do that. And so the fact that it is placed on the agenda as a consent or a regular item, that is just for expediency purposes. And anybody can move it at any time that's on the city council body.
That's correct.
And also to supplement that, oftentimes I'm speaking with either Lee or April or Lauren or all three of them about whether something should maybe end up on consent or agenda. So if you want to point a finger at it, feel free to point it at me, and we put it on here, but for the sole purpose of clarity and not just emails going back and forth that no one sees, I'm giving y'all an opportunity to remove something from the consent agenda if you don't agree it needs to be there. And I'm giving you the opportunity to put something on the consent agenda from the regular if we all agree that's supposed to be there. It's about transparency.
It is about transparency, and that's why I asked the question. Who makes the decision to put items on consent and not on consent? Previous administrations, and I've been coming to council meetings for several years, it's always been a new item, new agenda, new business, or old business. But decisions as far as whether something is consent, the council decided. When, during the discussions, they said, I'm good with this, I'm good with this, are we in agreement to put it on consent? We'd put it on consent. But to already have an agenda and saying, well, these items are on consent, that is not a decision that the lawyer, you, and the clerk should be making. That is decision that the entire council should be deciding on.
And to circle back to my response, do you not agree that we all agree during the council meeting what is on consent and what's not?
We do not.
You don't.
It's already predetermined is what I'm saying.
So I don't
And
ask
that-
you, do we all agree
Well,
that
we-
this remain
you
on
have to,
consent?
sir. You have to ask that question. But that question's a given all the time from the previous administrations, that the council president would read the item, and then there would be deliberation, and we would decide if we wanted to put it on consent or leave it as new business or old business. That has been the process from the get-go. This is the only administration where this has been changed, and it should not be. It should be kept and leaving it up to the entire body, not the attorney, the clerk, and you, sir.
A big part of developing that process was to make sure that when things were placed on consent after we all mutually agreed upon it, and the approval of the consent agenda was to ensure that beyond any reproach, that item was passed successfully. It's a layer of process to make sure that items can't come back for questioning, be like, did you guys do that or not? It's a procedural part to make sure that there's no question about whether or not it passed or not.
A procedural part existed before this administration, and it was always clear.
Do you just want everything to be on regular agenda? Is that what you're
I
going
would like
for?
it to be. It should be. And it should be an entire council to
We'll have
decide
that
whether it needs to
conversation
be
about
consent.
process. And if we need to review our ordinances, then we'll do so. Do you have anything else to
No
continue to
other
report on?
questions, but that really does need to be.
Thank you. Councilman
back the
London,
way
your
it
report,
was.
please, sir.
Can I make one comment?
Please.
Uh,
We're commenting
yes,
plenty up
it's-
here.
It's 5 years in, and we talking about tonight.
No, it's not
consent-
5 years.
Consent agenda item tonight.
We've had this agenda for roughly, I think it
3
came on
years.
board about 3 years or so.
What-
Yeah, it hasn't been in place the entire 4, to her
For
credit.
3 years. And we-
3 years,
we're
and I've
bringing it tonight.
noticed a
Here,
pattern.
This
it's
is
my report.
Councilman London's
It's my
report.
time now. All right. So 3 years in, and we're talking about changing the consent agenda. No concerns 3 years ago up until this one day. All right. So I guess my question to Councilman Quaylar, did you meet with the mayor on Saturday? I think you and the mayor met on Saturday, and my understanding, you never mentioned anything about meeting. this meeting?
I did meet with the mayor
Let
on
me
Saturday.
finish. Also, I'm with Box at that meeting when we were scheduled. I had March the 4th because that Councilman Spiver was planning to be out of town and Councilman Sam wasn't gonna be here. So we were scheduled for March the 4th. I had it on my calendar for March the 4th to have the water meeting. So, and that's the why, because we thought those two should be here for that meeting. So March the 4th is the date I had. So let me get into my report, because what you just did is not a report, that's a complaint. You know, and that's something you can call.
Point of order, Councilman.
But
Point
let
of
me say
order,
this,
please.
let me say
Point of
this.
order, Councilman Lennon, if you can reboot there on
Let
that.
me reboot. Let me say, but I did get, I get some emails on the water also.
Mhm.
And what I didn't respond. This is how I respond, because the mayor wasn't on that email change, and also Jared wasn't on the email chain. So I responded that mayor's our water superintendent. Jared knows more about water than anybody in this building knows, because he works with it every day. He's working every day. So I told Mr. Bavona, who sent the email, call those two guys, because if you have any, because I can't answer the question, I don't know. Those two guys had the answer. So I forwarded that email to Mayor and Jared, and I hope Mr. Bavona contacted those two guys to get the answer that he needed. And that's how I responded to that. I didn't go by bashing anybody, and he'll tell you, I didn't bash him, I just responded to him that way. But I have some positive, okay? We're gonna move on. Well, we have a, excuse me, we have a young lady in Irondale, Sage Valley graduate. Her name is Olivia Scarborough. Mom name is Sybil Gilbert, and I'm trying to pull the email up. Hold on for a second. Well, about 3 years ago, real short, she plays volleyball for Sage Valley. About 3 years ago, at a volleyball tournament, she got run into. She had a head concussion, real bad. A concussion. Right now, she have a hard time driving, light, and everything. She had to quit one school because she had a volleyball scholarship to go play, but she had to quit. But now she's enrolled at UAB and doing fine. I told her I would mention, this past Sunday, she won the Purple and Gold pageant at the University of Alabama, Birmingham, and it was sponsored by the Kappa Delta chapter and Omega Psi Phi. So I just want to shout her out and let the young people know that no matter how hard it gets, and people say what you cannot do, you can't do it, you can. So if any young folks listen out there, I want to let, and young man, if you sitting right there, you know, it doesn't matter how hard it gets, you know, and she's having a hard time, but she gave up, she came up with the strength to stand on that stage and walk across that stage. And now she's the black and gold, purple and gold beauty pageant at UAB, University of Alabama, Birmingham. So, you know, people can be negative all the time. That's what they do. You know, and people can try to talk you out of your dreams. But one thing about it, when God's got your dream in his hand already, you know, people can say what they want to say, but they can't stop God. And so I just want to shout her out tonight and just let her know how proud I am of her and what she's done to battle back from this injury, because she's still struggling. I mean, she sometimes, her mom be on the road, going out of town, and she have to turn around and come home because she just can't stand being in the car. So I just want to shout her out now, give her some positive, and hope we can move this meeting forward more positive.
Copy
Thank
that.
you.
Does that conclude your report?
That's it.
All right, outstanding. Thank you, sir. All right, at this time, we'll accept any public comments to the council on non-agenda items. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John Bavona, 1296 Shades Terrace, retired engineer, managed a staff of 350, including a water quality department. I have reviewed the city's water quality test results posted on ADEM. It is very complex to navigate the sites. Test results show there is lead in the drinking water, and the revised EPA safe level for lead is 0. Now go to your handout. This is a test result from a home on Round Forest Drive for lead. It's got 7 parts per billion. Underneath is the value from Trustville on their online site. They have 0 to 2 parts per billion for lead. So this house has got 3.5 times what Trustville states as their maximum. Now the sample only represents a small, or the samples represent a small portion. 90% of the test locations fall outside the inner city. So the inner city oldest homes are not being tested. That's obvious. So is there a comprehensive plan to test for lead in older homes like Birmingham did 90 days ago for homes built before 1989? The lead does not affect me as I live in a newer home. My concern is for the children of Irondale. First PFAS and now lead. Why haven't tests for lead in older homes been performed knowing test results show lead? Why over 10 months for test results to be posted on ADEM and still not on the city site? Where is the new water well that allowed 1 year in the contract for job site mobilization, knowing well number 2 was taken offline in February 2023? Children and everyone deserve lead-free water. Test for lead now in older homes. And Councilor Cuellar, as Water Committee Chair and now my district councilor, I ask that you receive a response on this, a simple yes or no question. Is Irondale water containing lead safe to drink? My research reveals EPA says only 0 lead is safe.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments on non-agenda items?
I'm Michelle Barclay, 1118 Carl Daly Trace. Wasn't planning to be here, I was watching online. But I wanted to show up in person because I'm a little disturbed by the representation on behalf of myself as a citizen, because I feel like some of us are being misrepresented as thinking that our mayor is dishonest or that things are not going the way they should. And I just want to encourage the counselors sitting up here on stage to keep that in mind, that maybe this isn't the place to air dirty laundry or to attack other people or to insinuate that some of us feel that it's a dishonest situation going on, and maybe take care of that before you get on stage. It's embarrassing and it's disheartening, and it does not set a good tone for those of us that do want to get involved. I don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. But I don't know how to communicate with anybody. I'm still learning all that. I tried to communicate on Facebook, but it goes unresponded and emails got kicked back. So that was probably on me. But I would like to know how we should communicate our concerns and whatnot to council folks. Just, is it email? Is there a formality we're supposed to follow? Can you let us know the best way to do that so that we can ask questions other than this microphone?
I would say the primary channel would be city email.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you need to get with, I would say, would you volunteer as a contact to assist her with that? We like to oftentimes keep it in the official capacity, just because before you know it, there's text messages, there's phone calls, there's Facebook IMs, Instagram IMs. I mean, there's just too much. So also, a lot of times I'll like to prefer to copy in the city attorney sometimes, depending on what the issue is. So I would say keep it to city email.
Okay.
And if you've got a bad address, you know, get with Miss Lee here and she'll make sure he has the correct one.
Thank you. And
Thank
I'll
you.
share it because there's a lot of people that do want to speak up. They just might not know how yet.
Understood?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am, I believe you were headed up. Thank you.
I'm Mary Scherer at 5276 Amber Hills Road. I did want to mention again that my information request that I requested and was received a confirmation on for January the 2nd, still not filled. But I really came up here tonight to talk about PFOAs. We were told to go to the ADEM website, and it is a monster. But I found the results. So October 2024, well number 2 and treatment plant, everything looks good. October 24, well 5, 6, and 7, PFOAs. 5.1, which is over the recommended amount of 4.0. It has to be converted. These are not in the PPT formats. So I did convert that. It is at 5.1. January of this year, January the 14th, well number 2, per flow, okay. This is PFHXS, 7.8. Perfluorooctane sulfonic acid, PFOS, 5.2. Perfluorooctanic acid, PFOA, 4.3. All of those are above. Earlier, it was much worse, so we've made progress. But back in 2023, PFOS at 42, PFOS at 18, PFOS at 14, 16, 19, 47. So real bad. Those reports are out there on that website. Also, just as a comment, their tests look very odd. They have different codes on them. There is one that's called, I don't remember what it was called, but it measured TTHM, which was the first things that were monitored after the U.S. Safe Water Act and were put out there as this is really bad. We had 2 measurements and then 2 more measurements in 2024 on 2 addresses. They don't look like the wells. It's addresses in Irondale,
Thank you, ma'am.
outside of the limits.
We look forward to getting together on March the 4th.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other comments on non-agenda items? With no other comments on yes, ma'am. Gotta get that thing on out there, man. Like, I almost moved faster. You gotta get that thing out there.
I'm just waiting.
Just giving you a hard time, Judy.
Judy Wilson, 3510 Belmont Road. Because we're encouraged to go out and look for information, real information about the city or about the council or the mayor. So I went to the Alabama League of Municipalities, Handbook for Mayors and Council Members. And this, just one part of it. The mayor and the council are a team. The working relationship between the mayor and the council usually determines the success of a mayor-council administration. The legislature has given the council in mayor-council municipalities important powers essential to the government of the municipality. Mayors and council members must recognize the fact that each is dedicated for the next 4 years to a common goal, providing the city or town with the best possible municipal government. Therefore, it is imperative that a harmonious working relationship develops between the mayor and the council. The ultimate goal is to produce a team on which every member is recognized as a necessary part. Every member is recognized as a necessary part. The mayor must take the initiative to establish a working relationship between the council and the office of the mayor. Open communication within the bounds of the Open Meeting Act will be key, but the mayor need not compromise honest viewpoints or surrender leadership. At times, the council will express divergent views. As the old saying goes, if 2 people think alike all the time, one is unnecessary. In most cases, common ground can be found to develop workable programs. The mayor should not hesitate to indicate a willingness to seek this common ground. So I assume that you all have privy to this literature.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, sir.
So I want to thank Ms. Wilson for expressing the importance of working as a team. And while I've worked in or lived in Irondale, I have seen this council and this mayor work as a team, except the exception of one individual. And there's a difference between attempting to work with one another and looking to be constructive and in just sharing gossip and spreading rumors and trying to share any conspiracy theory that happens to float in your head. Sometimes the people that say the most have the least to actually say. So I would really encourage all of us, if we are looking to be a productive city, make sure that we are actually working together and not trying to just name call and not try to, I guess, whatever happened tonight and the last time and the last time and the last time. Thank you. Please, I speak for most citizens when I say we want to see this council and this mayor work together. But there's a difference between working together, like I said, and just spreading gossip. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments? Yes, ma'am.
Ann Albritton, 2303 4th Avenue South, Irondale. In reference to what the gentleman just stated, I will have to preface the fact that's all well and good, but when you get on Facebook to go on and make your proverbial comments that weren't allowed here, it's a little contradictory. But in case anyone questioned about our water content, and yes, it is to continue, this is what came out of my water heater. This is my second replacement. So if there's any question, it doesn't stop at just lead that's in our water. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Any other comments on non-agenda items? With no more comments on non-agenda items, we're going to go ahead and move forward to any reports of boards and non-council committees.
Hi, I'm Catherine Hogwood, and I'm the chair of the Commercial Development Authority of Irondale, also known as the CDA. And it's my privilege to serve along with those board members to promote existing businesses and recruit new businesses. And of course, there's a lot of exciting things going on in that front for our city. And I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware that we do have an upcoming vacancy and applications are being accepted. And so I just wanted to encourage people to consider applying and to let me know if you have any questions about that I can encourage you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other boards or non-council committees? Yep. Mhm. You're fine. Take your time.
So good evening, I'm Katie Wiswall with the Alabama Forestry Commission, and this is Kelly Frank. She is on the Irondale Tree Commission. And I'm just here to congratulate y'all on your 17 years as a Tree City, USA. I'm sure that you'll have a proclamation soon from the mayor on Arbor Day. That's part of being a Tree City, but I wanted to show you some of the things that you get. Arbor Day Foundation provides some little free swag to recognize your efforts as a Tree City, USA. You have a couple of street signs coming in and out of Irondale that proclaim your status as Tree City, and these little stickers go on there to tell you how many years you're celebrating. Awesome. And then there's a plaque somewhere, City Hall or Public Works, that is really nice. And it has a tree and it says you're a Tree City, and every year that you renew, you get a new little medallion like this, and it goes there. This is your plaque extender because it only holds 5 years. So, and then you have some cool stickers. I don't know where those go, but that's up to y'all.
Fair enough.
But thank you guys very, very much for continuing to be a Tree City. I know you'll be doing a tree giveaway here in the city sometime soon. It might be Saturday, it might be Sunday, it might be later because the Tree Commission hasn't decided exactly which date they want to do. But part of my job at the Forestry Commission is to order trees for all the counties in Alabama to do tree distributions. So we'll have some little bare root seedlings. They'll look like sticks. Ladies, don't let your husbands run over them after you plant them in the yard. Or if you're the person on the mower, don't run over it. It's really a little bitty tree. But I'm sure that John, Schoen, and Kelly will let you know when the tree giveaway is going to be. You can check the Facebook page, or the Alabama Forestry Commission has a website, forestry.alabama.gov, and our media team is trying to make sure they put out all of the dates of all the tree giveaways in the state. So you can look on our website as well. That's all I got.
Would you care to say anything? Okay, fair enough. I just want to extend the
Ms.
offer.
Griswold?
All right.
Ms. Griswold, thank you. I just want to thank you for working with our Exchange Club to make this happen.
Thank y'all. Any other reports of any boards or non-council committees? All right, fair
Council
enough.
President, before we move on, could I make a point of order that?
Please.
We don't have on the agenda for department heads to report, but if Mr. Morris decides to, we'll be allowing him to speak right now to address some of these.
If he cares to address the concern, then by all means, if Mr. Jared is back there and is, wants to respond, he's not required by any means to respond, because I can't make him respond. But if he cares to, all I need is a yes or a no.
He's moving forward.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, sir.
So I'm not going to say a lot, but there's a significant amount of misinformation that's been out here.
Thank you.
A lot of it's been incorrect. I spoke with the mayor. Come to the March 4th meeting, and you will get the correct information that you all want and that you all need. So that's all.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Mr. Morris.
Are there any other department heads while we're on department heads that care to give a report? Okay, thank you very much. All right, we do not have a public hearing this evening, so we will move on past that. We're going to go ahead and get to the deliberation on agenda items only. Item number 1 on the proposed consent agenda. Resolve that resolution 2025 R34 approves a 140 special event retail alcohol license for Marty's Burger Bar LLC DBA Marty's St. Patrick's Day Celebration 2025, located at 5415 Beacon Drive, Suites 134 through 145, Irondale, Alabama 35210. Parking lot for an event to be held on March 15th, 2025. So it's a one-day liquor license for their festival that goes outside of their the walls of their establishment. The event has already been approved. This is just the liquor license piece. We've done this about 3 or 4 times. Councilman Lennon, any questions regarding? Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions. I just want to comment and say that this is a really great event for Irondale. Draws quite a few people. It's a lot of fun. And I'm happy that we're going to be doing it again this year.
Thank you. Councilman Box?
Just echoing Councilwoman Cuellar's, and appreciate you kind of heads us up to get this thing going again for a 3rd year.
Thank y'all. Always a fun event. Please come out. They've always got different stuff going on. So every year is kind of its own thing. Item number 2 on the proposed consent agenda, resolve that resolution 2025 R35, asserting the city's commitment to the paving of roads within the city and authorizing Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to execute a funding agreement with the Alabama Department of Transportation for the repavement of parts of Grants Mill Road and Kilgore Memorial Drive. Mayor Stewart is not here to introduce this item, but between legal and Lee, our clerk, I believe there's a grant involved here. There is. A $700,000 grant, and the city's on the hook for 20%, about $140,000. Okay. Councilman London, do you have any questions about this item?
No, sir.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yeah, I have a question for legal. I didn't get a chance to visit with you because I was looking at the bids that came for these resolutions that we received earlier this afternoon. Is this, I recall that we discussed a grant with AlDOT. I want to say it was towards the end of 23 or early 24, where, and Mr. Meads was present at that meeting, and it had to do with the remaining poles on the interstate that we needed to provide some additional funding for, working with AlDOT. And part of that agreement was that they would provide a grant so that we could get this area taken care of. Is this what this is? This grant?
It's my understanding that those are two separate, items because they provide their own funding agreement for this, which is what was attached. And so that would be completely separate from the interstate, lighting
Right,
as well.
but Mr. Sane mentioned that part of that agreement would include the paving of Kilgore. If we would do this part, LDOT would provide us with an additional grant to get this part done.
I can't speak to that. I'm not sure.
Okay, thank
Sorry.
you.
Does that conclude your comments or
That
questions?
concludes my comments.
Okay. Councilman Box?
Just kind of echoing Councilman Crowther, all I saw was the paving for Grants Mill. I didn't see anything about light poles. I think it is actually two separate things, but thank you for the time.
Understood. I agree. Do we agree to leave this on consent?
Yes,
Yes.
Yes. Everybody says yes?
I'll look for it and I'll share it with y'all.
Okay. Item number 3 on the proposed consent agenda, resolution 2025 R36 authorizes the allocation of public funds to Irondale Middle School in the amount of $500, almost over committee there, Councilman London, $500 from the FY 24-25 discretionary fund of Counselor John London to be used exclusively for the boys basketball team. Councilman London, any questions or comments?
No comment. Just we mentioned them earlier. Just gonna help them purchase a banner, championship banner for them.
Nice. Councilwoman Quayer, any questions?
Yeah, that was the only comment I was gonna make. I'm not opposed to using discretionary funds for it. We just didn't have any documentation telling us what this was for. The last time we had basketballs that we purchased, they showed us, they sent us the basketballs. This didn't have anything, and so I was wondering if we could have something to support what this is for. It just says, exclusively for the boys basketball team, but it doesn't specify how those funds are gonna be used.
Are you satisfied with Councilman London's, or are you looking forward to seeing an
I'd just like a
invoice?
follow-up. If they have
Okay.
that and send it to us, I'm good with it. Just
Okay.
let's have that documentation.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Councilman Box?
No, I'm good. No questions.
I'm good as well, thank you. Do we agree to leave this on consent?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Moving forward to the proposed regular agenda, resolve that resolution 2024 R139A amends resolution 2024 R139 that establishes monthly financial requirements, reporting requirements for the city treasurer. Councilwoman Quayer, this has your name next to it. Do you care to introduce it?
Yes, reason that I added this and amended it was because I have been asking for the bank statements on a couple of occasions. I think one of them, everyone received that request, and I haven't received them. And this is part of our oversight. And while we do trust that everything is going, we need to verify that everything is as it is stated. And this is why I am requesting again, in having discussions with other council members from other municipalities, they were surprised that we're not getting the bank statements. And it's why I have it included here. And it's something that we need as part of our oversight. This is what got Homewood into trouble. They were not getting the bank statements. They are getting the bank statements now. So this is the reason, in conversation with other council members, presidents, they all were surprised. They said, yeah, you need to get those bank statements because that's part of your oversight as a council.
Councilman London, any comments or questions?
Well, my comment, not only for this item, for the next item, that Councilman Sam and the mayor is not here, who works closely, especially the mayor who works closely with these two items, with our city clerk. And he's not here to give his input, and I know our job, we're over finances, I don't have to be told that, I know our jobs. But for them to have an input on that, I would like to see both of these be postponed to the next meeting, so we have a full discussion with our Councilman Sims and our mayor who's not here tonight.
Councilman Box?
I see some validity in this, but if I'm not wrong, I've asked you, Miss Allison, you're providing all of this already except the bank statements, is my understanding? And what is an estimation of your workload or man hours of getting this together? And this one and that question will come up again in a few minutes. And it shouldn't be too difficult to present the bank statements, but I'm just kind of trying to get a feel for your man hours on getting these things together as the way they're being requested.
Well, we have 27 accounts, so it would just be me going to each account, downloading the statement, and attaching it to your monthly report.
Okay, so Councilwoman Craig, you're not asking her to print these out for you,
No,
just transfer them digitally?
they're digital. You
Okay,
get them digital from the bank,
very good.
right?
Those were all my questions. Thank you.
Okay. And my understanding is the only change is literally the delivery of the bank statements. Am I hearing you correctly?
That's it.
Okay. Councilman London, I'm personally okay with this one. If emailing out 27 bank statements will satisfy this request, then I'm totally good with it. I do think some of your comments I feel probably more in line with on the next item, but for this item particularly, if putting the 27 bank statements on there is good enough for rock and roll, then I would say let's let it fly.
Okay.
Thoughts? What do you say on that one, sir? Are you good?
I'm good. If you good,
Okay.
is council good with it? I'm good with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I
And
just made that suggestion.
okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Since I've seemed to be addressed his concerns on this item and we've understood the time commitment required, since there's no monetary, and it's a resolution, there's nothing monetary associated with that. Do you mind if this moves to consent? Are you good with that, Councilman London?
Yes.
Okay, Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes, I was going to ask if we
Okay.
could move it.
Councilman Box?
I'm good.
And I'm good. So item number 4 would move on to consent. All right, outstanding. Now, item number 5, resolve the resolution 2025 R37 establishes a policy for the city council expense approval reports. Councilwoman Cuellar, you've introduced this item. If you'd care to explain it.
Yes, the reason that I set this format, we need to have some uniformity when we're going through our council expense approval report, especially when we're dealing with P-card transactions. We have like 28 employees, 29 now, that have P-cards. And when you look at, say for instance, beginning with page 9, there's no rhyme or reason. You've got purchasing card, then you've got recurring charge that starts off, then you have department leaders, then you have credit card that starts off. We need to have some uniformity, and the uniformity there, because when you look at this expense approval report, and I'll give you an example on page 9, it simply says Irondale Chamber tickets. It doesn't say whose P card it is. It doesn't say anything else other than that. Whose P card is that? And there needs to be some uniformity so that it's easy when the council looks at this. All right, you have the P card starting out first 4 digits. If you have more than one person with the same last name, you have the first initial, then the last name, and the description, a very brief description. And in this example, I put SWAT team. And I can figure out conference and training, SWAT team training. Pretty easy to follow it. What we've got here is you can't make rhyme or reason of it. And again, it's not meant to criticize anyone, but the council needs something that's got some uniformity when we're dealing with our P-card transactions. That's the reason that I ask that we have this so that we can look through them quickly, highlight something that maybe needs to be looked at a little closer. We go, pull that invoice, and we can look at it. But I'm going and pulling a bunch of invoices because there's no rhyme or reason the way that it's set up. And so much so that I even found one P card, as I stated earlier today, where it wasn't even on our council expense approval report, but it was going to be paid. So by having this uniformity, it makes it easy for the council. You have a very easy format to follow, not what we've got now. It's a mess. You got capital, all capital letters, and you got lowercase, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's That's why I asked that we have some uniformity with it. And as someone who's worked in banking and you get your expense reports, you've got some uniformity. And that's all this is. It's just getting some uniformity on these reports. Not a hard thing to do because that's a description field.
Councilman London, questions, comments?
One comment, first of all, we don't give employees directives, so I want to make sure we're clear with that piece of it.
What?
We can't tell them exactly what they should or should do, and we should be looking forward to make it easier for them because they work with it every day. Now, the second part is, see, Councilman Coyle, you don't have to say to council, when you're speaking, speak for yourself, because I think we can speak for our own self. So everything that you say, we don't agree with it. So when you're speaking, make sure you speak for you and not for us, because I can speak for myself. But again, I wanted to postpone it because you keep saying the council, no, you're talking. Talk for yourself. Say, Councilman Quaylor, this is what I like to see done. Because this is your baby. So I would like to see it. Again, mayor works with this every day. Our city clerk works with it every day. I like to have their input on this piece. This is a big piece. I don't have an issue with it, but I think they need their input in this. Because I think you just read something about mayor shouldn't give up his authority. If we pass this tonight, he'll be giving up his authority. So I want to make sure that's protected, and he have an opportunity to speak on this piece.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Box?
Thank you, Council President. I believe that Councilwoman McClellan has some validity here, but once again, it goes back to my concerns of, with our city clerk of what we're doing right now. If you could give us a quick rundown of that, if Council President would allow it. And I think you said that you're actually evolving what we're doing right now to cut out some of the maybe confusion or double work, and it would be a lot more streamlined. So it's possible that maybe we should wait for that finished product and then come back and address what Councilwoman Quaylor is talking about to see if you've already done that or if that's going to blend together. Then that would honor Councilman London's request to postpone as well. So those are my comments if you would allow the treasurer to speak.
Whatever you feel like.
So what you're seeing here is basically one entry, one purchase order number, and then we split distribution, all the expenses. If we do it the way the resolution states, we'd have to make multiple entries. So it'd be a purchase order per expense because there's one purchase order, one description line. You can't put a description on each expense unless it has its own purchase order. So it should be multiple purchase orders.
So you're saying your workload would definitely increase, your investment time hours would increase to do this as well to present what Councilwoman Quaylor wants. So then that does, not that it doesn't have validity, but it does lead back to with the mayor, who is the chief executive and who is the one that we can request the things we want, but our request should go through the mayor. And then those directives for changes go to the department heads or to the employees. My opinion is, and we should address this after Lee finishes curtailing what she's already been having the progress on that the mayor had initiated with her. We should come back and address this at that time, at a later time.
I would agree, Councilman Box and Councilman London. I know that we're over the finances. That's not lost on me. I get that. But when it gets down to talking about policies and things that we're telling our city associates to do, I'm not comfortable with that without his guidance. Because that's his role as their manager. Yes, we're in charge of the finances, and we need to be able to see what we need to see in a way that doesn't, take so much time out of our personal lives. I get that, but I'm just not comfortable setting financial policies without him present. Another thing is, after speaking with the clerk about this, Ms. Lee, the first item that we just discussed, not a big deal. Click on one button 27 times, download a PDF, let it rip. This is a little different with multiple entries and everything. Would you consider this to be a significant time project for you on a biweekly basis?
I do. We are doing it the most efficient way right now. And also, all the information, we have a spreadsheet attached to the packet
that has a description and the name and the date and expenses and all that on there as well. So in the actual packet, you can see that.
Fair enough.
Council President Spivey, may I
Let's just come
redress-
back forward. We'll come back for a
Okay.
second round on this. I'll give you your 2 minutes. But that being said, I echo Councilman London and Councilman Box's concerns on this. I will forfeit the rest of my time. Since we're going to come back around, Councilman London, 2 minutes, sir.
So where's that? What you're just talking about? This is already in our package. Is what you're saying? What she's asking for?
Well, there's a spreadsheet, there's a statement, spreadsheet
Right.
that, you know, has a description of everything, has the name, has the receipt, and, everything in the packet, in the box. in the council box.
For example, I have this one. Just reading this one, say James Doss. That's Officer Doss. So on this one, it shows that he has some cleaners, got his card name down there, what he did it for. It's got it where it's tablecloth cleaning, got a lot of the descriptions on there, and it got the amount on there. And it also has the card number on here also. Yes, and plus the receipt. It's already, so that's what I have right here that I'm watching. Everything she's asking for, it's already in the package.
Does that conclude your comments?
Yes, sir.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
If I may clarify, it is not in our council packet. That's the reason I'm asking for some uniformity. You have to come into City Hall after hours when you've got time, get into the city council file and go through those statements, and you'll find the documentation there. So I'm not asking, this is not a directive with changing all of this. This is simply a data entry uniformity. Very easy. Now, as far as the invoices, I hear what you're saying. So if the description is supplies and they're all the supplies invoices, that's it. That's all I want. Just tell me card number, P card, supplies. That way I know that's what it was for. Then you can say card number, P card, travel. Those are separate. They have to be separate. That's all that I'm asking for. So if you have 10 invoices for supplies, just say supplies. That's what we do. But it's not meaning to put an entry for every single invoice that pertains to supplies. That's not what I'm asking for. I'm asking for some uniformity because I can't make rhyme or reason from this. And I have to come in and examine it to find out, what is this about? What is this about? It doesn't say anything, doesn't give me anything. Doesn't have a card number, doesn't have a name. It just says meeting transaction subscription software. That's what I'm saying. Card number, name, brief description, that's it. Not asking for separate invoices for every entry. That's not what I'm asking for.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Box?
Well, I guess I'm a little confused because I hear Councilwoman Quellar's points, but then also, Council London, do you have a packet in front of you that you just found the explanations on, or is that online that you just found the explanations in the packet?
We can find it.
Okay, so,
I can email it.
well, once again though, so are we receiving it in the packet? Are we receiving it elsewhere that we can find it on the line?
Expense, expense.
Thanks. Okay,
But
so
you
it
have to
is-
go in and look through.
Okay, but it is being.
It's not our council packet.
Councilman Boxes. Thank you, sir.
It
Sorry.
is being provided at this time.
In the council,
And in your opinion, we're providing it the most expeditious way
as far as data entry.
as far as data entry. Now, with honor to Councilwoman Feller's request, that may be more expeditious for her to have it done this way so that she can conduct our reviews and we can learn maybe from her to conduct our reviews as well. But if the body of the council is kind of happy with the way it is, I still say, once again, let's let the mayor get back. Let's let these suggestions go to him and see if we can't marry or blend what you're saying is the most expeditious way, plus what Councilwoman Cuellar is saying. That's all, Council President.
I will yield my time to another department head here to speak on this matter.
I would just like to put out there that I've been doing P card or credit card reports since I've been here. The way we are doing them now is probably the most detailed and the most, I'll use the word transparent, since I've been here. What you get on that little report is not going to give everything that's in that description anyway. There's not enough room on it, and we're trying to be detailed enough because we've been asked to be detailed, because at some point we just put it was a conference or was this, then we were told we need dates for the conferences, so that's why we came up with this spreadsheet, and we're spending a lot of time making sure this is put on the spreadsheet so that the funds that we are expending are accounted for. And I mean, great, I like that I can go back on this spreadsheet and look and do that, but to now change how we're doing the data entry when you're not going to see everything that we put in there anyway, and how much time are you paying me to do my credit card report? When I first started here, it would almost take me a whole day to put them in, just my credit card or P card. So I just want to put in from my opinion on what I'm doing, what we were doing, and what we're trying to do. But the report that you get, I don't matter what we put in there, it's only going to show you so much.
Right.
So that's
Right.
just my piece.
Chief McDaniel, if I can just say something in response to Chief McDaniel, I thank you for what you said with the data entry. When you look, did you see this example?
I haven't seen that example. I just
Okay.
know when I've pulled
Pretty
my
simple.
budget reports,
Yeah,
the stuff that I put in there, I have to actually be in the system to see the whole description that's in there if I've
Right.
put it in there. Because I like for things, I like to know and to go back and say, I don't like to just put this. I like to know that it was this for Station 3 or this for this truck or whatever, because I can go back and see how much we spent. So I like for it to be detailed in that because I can go in the system and do that. But I just wanted to explain that you're not getting the whole description because of the way the report prints.
yes, I hear it, and this is why I simplified it.
I'm gonna finish my 2 minutes here. Thank you very much. I appreciate your perspective, Chief. That being said, I just want to reinforce the fact that all of this reinforces the need to postpone this financial policy. That being said, Council London, what day you want to postpone it?
I got a motion, postpone it.
There's a motion. Well, I wanted to go
We're
down
not
the
at that
line
point.
and get a straw vote on it. You vote for postponement, correct, Councilman London?
Yes, yes.
Councilman Quayle,
If the body wants to postpone it, I'm good with it.
Councilman Box?
Yeah, so just to be clear for the audience, we're not voting right now. We're just deciding that we're going to remove this or postpone it.
Correct.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. And I would agree with that as well. Thank you for your going along with us having a little bit of extra time. All right, so when this is introduced, this agenda is introduced, please act accordingly around item number 5. All right, item number 6, resolve the resolution 2025 R38 accepts the bid from Dexter Forston Associates, Inc. in the amount of $44,792 even for electrical work at Well 7 for the City of Iredell Water Department, and authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to execute any necessary documents with Dexter Forston Associates, Inc. needed to effectuate this bid acceptance. I believe this is coming out of O&M most likely. Would you agree with that?
I talked to the mayor earlier, and it would be reserved.
It would be reserved?
It would be reserved.
Please feel free to expound.
I believe on the 22nd of January, went to turn the well on, or actually got a pole failure from the well, and it would not turn on. Long story short, we thought it was the motor. We megged the motor. Motor made good. Pump was locked up. So we got Morrow Water out here. They pulled the pump, which is about 300 feet. Pump is shot. And so we have a loaner pump in there. And so both of these kind of piggyback off each other. One of them is to replace the pump as well as the motor. And the other one is to upgrade the electrical to put a VFD in it, as well as to upgrade the wiring from 3-aught to 4-aught, and just some various electrical work that's got to be done in, as well as a pump at the time of its install. So we're on a loaner pump at the time. So we're grateful for Morrow to kind of get us out of a bind, because we were down to well 5 or well 6. So we were down to one well at during that period. So they got us back up and running. think by Friday morning. So that happened on Wednesday. We were pumping water again on Friday morning. So that was a pretty good turnaround. But this is, to complete the rest of this work. They bid today. Morrow showed up, and then DFA showed up as well to do the electrical. So I'll answer any questions that goes with that.
Councilman Linden, any questions or comments?
So the wells are still up. You just need to replace the pump and the electrical.
Yeah, we have a temporary motor from Morrow. We have a submersible pump in there right
Okay.
now that they've kind of threw together so we could pump water.
Okay.
So we're on borrowed time with that. But it's not a ideal situation.
So how long are you gonna take you to get this in, this new pump?
I think they'll start, I believe, I should know that off the top of my head here. Cause, electrical will be a week before, their install date is the 12th of March.
Okay.
And the electrical is a week earlier than that. So they'll be in front of each other. Well, the electrical will be done time the, pump gets in.
Okay. All right. That's all I got.
Councilwoman Quayle?
Yeah, the bid quotation sheet for electrical states that it's March 4th, delivery and install. It's in our documentation. The only question I have is, when we received this, there were spaces for 3 bids. Did we get 3 bids or did we get 1 bid?
One showed up per
Showed
item.
up.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
This morning
And that was Dexter, right? So that was the only bid we got.
for the electrical part. There were
Okay.
2 different bids. Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. It's the only question I had.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Box?
No, so we'll keep limping along with the temporary pump while they're getting the electrical ready, getting everything. So all we have to do is drop the other pump, turn it off. We'll be down for a little while, but then right back up.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All my questions have been answered. Thank you very much.
Thank y'all.
I don't know if you want to hang around.
Well, we got the next one, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
This has a funding source, granted it's the reserve
Right.
and everything, but do we agree that this could be moved to consent?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Perfect. Last item, number 7, resolve the resolution 2025 R39 accepts the bid from Morrow Water Technologies, Inc. in the amount of $149,000 for the pump and motor installation at Well 7 for the City of Irondale Water Department, and authorizes Mayor James Sr. or his designee to execute any necessary documents with Morrow Water Technologies, Inc. needed to effectuate this bid acceptance. Mr. Morris?
See here?
He acknowledged.
Oh, okay.
I think he just needed to step away for just a moment. I know he alluded to the fact that there was another, is obviously regarding a separate bid for another item, so I imagine he's going to walk us through that. No?
So that's the pump.
Mhm.
Yeah, one of them's the pump, one of them's the electrical.
Okay.
Councilman Lennon, any questions about this
No
particular item?
Mhm.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes, looking at the contract, beginning on page 3, item D and E, we have refurbishing the discharge head as well as the stuffing box. How much does a new discharge head cost as well as a new stuffing box?
So that discharge head is made for the concrete that's out there currently. So everything will be made to that. That'll be a special order item that would take. So all they're doing is powder coating
So
it.
it's not being refurbished, because this says refurbished.
Well, it's powder coating. I mean, they're sandblasting it powder coat, and then it'll come back. It's made for the concrete mount that's currently out there with the column piping that's there. So it's there's nothing wrong with it.
Okay, very good. Then on page 10 of the agreement, do we know who the third party is going to be on number 3 under item B, materials identification? It says all measurement devices shall be calibrated by a third party.
Yeah, it'll be Clay Green, which is their QC company that they have.
Okay. Okay, and then going back, that was page 11. Looking at page 10, under general information 3.02 inspection and testing, says the engineer should have the right to inspect, test, or witness test of all materials or equipment to be furnished. Mr. Morris, are you an engineer?
No, ma'am, but municipal consultants will be the one that do
Municipal
that,
consultants is
which
gonna be doing
The
it.
engineer for the city and that does all the water.
Okay, that's all I need to know, who our engineer was gonna be.
Okay.
Municipal consultant, thank you.
Councilman Box?
No, all the questions were answered. Thank you.
The only question for me is it from the same funding source?
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Appreciate your
you.
time. Since we have a funding source for item number 7, do we agree to keep this on consent?
Yes,
Everybody needs nods in agreement? Okay, perfect.
Move to consent.
Move to.
Move to consent. Sorry.
Yep.
There was a comment about my mic being off. It was because I was trying not to broadcast my my cough through the entire world of Facebook, but I apologize for not turning it back on for anybody listening at home. All right. Well, that being said, we finished our deliberation. There's nothing else on the agenda item. So that being said, I would ask for an approval of the form of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the form of the agenda.
Is there anything you want to remove from it, sir?
Well, we're going to remove item 5 and postpone that for a later date. And actually then we will be adding, moving items 6 and 7 to the consent agenda.
Perfect. We have a motion. We have a second.
Correction. 4, 6, and 7, right?
Yes, correct. 4, 6, and 7.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
There's a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. That being said, now that we have an approved agenda, are there any public comments on agenda items only? Any comments on agenda items only? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Judy Wilson. I do not claim to speak for everyone in the city of Irondale. I don't know of anyone that knows the mind of everyone in Irondale. But to follow up on the handbook for mayors and council members, the
Ms. Judy, this
council-
is on agenda items only.
it's about spending, yes, about paying,
Continue. Just let's see where you're going with this.
is about spending, about approving money and making sure the expenditures that you're paying for, that you know what they're for. For all of you who are not as old as I am, this is a checkbook. See, it's my checkbook, mine and my husband's. And this is a register, so I write everything in here for every check that I write, and I know what I've written it for. And if anybody needs to go in there and look, you know what the expenditure was for, and the check that I paid. It balances every time I go in. I can still remember when my husband taught me how to write checks. I was very young, but it's very important. And so no matter if you have a small amount of money, such as we have, we actually bank with David Spivey's bank, very competent bank. But it's important that you know what you're paying for with the city funds. That's what I'm trying to say. I know it sounds tedious and unimportant, but it is not unimportant. Because when you start letting that dike that the little Dutch boy ended up putting his finger in to stop the leak, it could have been a tragedy. And so if we can stop any little leaks, and I know sometimes it causes extra work, that's the job. You know, it's just a job sometimes. It's the way it is. But I commend you all for working, the work that you do and the hard work of being accountable to the city. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other comments on agenda items only? Agenda items only? All right, with no more comments on agenda items, I would ask for an approval of the consent agenda.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, let me catch up. We got that, we got that, we got that. Big regular agenda, item 4, we nixed 5. Number 6 was added, number 7 was added. That being said, we have no more agenda items to deliberate. At this time, I would accept the motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motioned by all three simultaneously. Ms. City Clerk, may I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Quayle. Are in favor? Aye. Thank you very much.